we are. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay. So I took these blog posts. I started to go through them. Now, when we last met, Vinay, you said that TJ and I needed to go back and study these three posts. And I had this week was a little busy, so I got a chance to read the first one, and I started just to take notes based on what I read. Um, I read the first paragraph of the second one, security obstructionism, but I thought I would do two things. One was just chart a course for the next two, uh, for our next two uh, live streams, because I think it would be good to for TJ and I to go finish going through these three articles, and then set some goals where we're making contributions to what you're doing. We we had I know TJ did a attack path map, and I think you'd be proud. We we had a situation. We were assessing an organization that was upgrading Apache Tomcat, and TJ put together an attack path map for that. Um, and I think for me, my work this week had focused mainly on uh, reading over these articles and trying to understand things a little better. Uh, so one being an understanding of you only live once security, where you're it's sort of like these were two totally dynamic, total opposites. You had you only live once, where you do the bare minimum, and you continually push the kick the can down the road. Quiet, Bitsy. And then the fear of missing out security, where you're concerned with having uh, the best and the brightest tools. You're kind of you're doing security for the sake of doing security. If it were a ship, uh, FOMO security would be this massively armored battleship that could carry no cargo, and maybe it was well protected, but it would be an organization that could do only the only thing it could do is protect itself, and it would be questionable as to whether it was meeting its commercial security or its commercial aims. Whereas YOLO security would be, uh, if I were to create a ship, it would be a really fast. Uh, there would be no protections, but it could move fast, and uh, it it moved as quickly as possible, and it maximized on the business side, but minimized on the security side. Uh, that's my understanding of it. And I took this diagram. I just screenshotted it out of the Kelly Shortridge article. That you want to focus on this middle part right here, being goal driven, focusing on resilience, and uh, not on these two extremes, FOMO security and YOLO security. I'm not sure if I'm missing anything on that.
Yep, you pretty much got everything she says. And if you go look at her videos on YouTube, she speaks a lot on resilience. So she speaks on the middle ground. And in one of the videos, she actually talks about a case where if you have a lot of defenses, let's assume you are neither doing YOLOSEC nor FOMOSEC, you're somewhere in the middle, and you have a lot of defenses that you have defined. Now, how do I start implementing them? She also speaks about that, where you start with something that is the cheapest to implement and creates an extra barrier for the attacker to get in, and slowly start moving towards a section where it's costlier both for the attacker and for you to take care of it. Like if you implement the defense, you probably have to invest in an entirely new Kubernetes cluster for monitoring, for example.
Yes.
But then it's also difficult for an attacker to get in because now you have invested that. That's on the other end of the spectrum. So that also kind of brings in this idea that when you present it to somebody who is not in security, you can present them in chunks and still let them handle security and not really scare them away.
As far as our our plans and roadmaps
Mm-hmm.
for this effort here, I would like to try and continue to meet once a week because I'm like one of these people that if I don't have a deadline I'm working against, I
Mm-hmm.
don't move. I just don't move as fast as I probably could. Uh, but at the same time, we want to be respectful of your time, Vinay, because uh, if you're okay with us putting together, spending out some time here putting together where we could go, then I'd like to do that and then break early because I do have another commitment I have to go to.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
step one, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
So Friday 3 o'clock, I have booked on my calendar for this. So I'll be open for that. What we can do is instead of trying to finish an entire topic in one session, we can actually break it up across sessions. So
Okay.
the first one probably is just brainstorming attacks and defenses. So you write it down in text.
Hmm.
And probably the next sessions would be actually putting them down in ADM code so that you can start seeing the diagram building up.
Okay.
And as you start putting it, you'll start realizing that maybe this has to be broken into two separate scenarios because you found out this other scenario. So the third step probably is going to introduce more details when we work on it.
Okay. So let's go. This is session 3. Add more details and potentially break it up.
Yeah.
More details.
So the initial few sessions would be basically doing this for multiple scenarios. So, for example, if we break it up into a 3 meet session, one use case will cover in 3 sessions, which means if we can do like 4 or 5 sessions, that will give you enough confidence on how to work on this.
Okay.
And once we get to like finishing the fourth or fifth use case, we can start looking at more advanced steps where you spawn a target and actually write attack scripts and defense scripts for them. And that will kind of complete the circle for this entire tool, where it doesn't not only let you define the steps but also write code under them.
That sounds really good.
Yeah, but you'll have to get used to this ADM diagramming first. So we'll first 5 use cases, we'll just focus on building the diagram. Phase two is probably going to be adding code to these 5 use cases. We'll maybe spawn a virtual machine, see if our attack assumptions are true, and see if our defenses, what we thought of, can actually stop those.
That sounds like a lot of fun. It does.
Yeah.
I think TJ got disconnected real quick. Let me add him back to our to the meeting. All right, TJ, I think you're back on.
Yeah, I can still hear everything. No, I love what y'all were saying.
Okay. I think we both will be in a better place. I'm gonna post the links for the 3 articles in they're in the Security at Chaos Engineering Notes Google Doc, and
Okay.
if between you and I, if we finish reading the 3 articles and then just come prepared with a scenario, I'll come up with 5 scenarios, and then maybe the 3 of us between now and next Friday, we'll pick one and then start on one.
That sounds great.
Okay.
My question, Vinay, you said that the ultimate evolution of this, bringing it full circle, is ADSM helps you write attack defense script.
Yes.
That got my attention real fast with that one.
So both ADM and ADSM leading to scripts is probably the final goal. Will take some time, maybe session 20 or session 25. But the initial sessions is purely on the ADM diagram and writing code that can do the job well.
Okay. I think this sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What I recommend we break, and then that'll give me some time back. I'll finish reading the blog post,
Mhm.
and then TJ that'll allow you to get home. And Vinay, we want to be respectful of your time. So this sounds like a good approach. I think we're in pretty good place.
Yep. And I'll find some of the videos from Kelly Shortridge that maybe you should also watch and post it on the Discord.
Okay. All right. So, TJ, anything on your end before we break?
Yeah, I did have one question, Vinay. Are there any plans, because I know you have the Docker environment for MS Code, and I'm going to get that put on my Mac instead of running it command line.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say, for example, you wanted to use this tool on a headless Linux server.
Mm-hmm.
You can't really Docker MS Code with a headless server. Are there any plans of a Docker environment for headless environments?
So Visual Studio Code actually lets you do remote containers where you can run a Docker environment in a remote server, and then VS Code will connect up to that server to run your project. So that's already supported in the tool.
Okay.
But I'll have to see what changes are needed in my Docker container, if any. If not, I'll probably post a set of steps that you should follow to do a remote server-based connection or Docker containers.
Okay. The reason I ask is I'm trying to get ADSM set up on the intern server we have for work, so that people can SSH into it and work with it there. If they don't want to put it on their own device, they've already got an environment that it's set up in. And it's working okay when I sit down at that computer, but some stuff's going wonky when I'm SSHing into it, and I need errors on my own part. If I can't get it fixed, I'll hit you up in Discord to see if I've done something completely wrong.
Sure. Yeah, I'll be.
Oh, thank you.
Yep.
Okay. So I think we're good. I'm gonna in my blog, I'll take our notes and I'll post it there. So if anybody's watching our live stream, they could follow along with our notes and see where we go with this. But again, thank you, Vinay, for your time and sharing everything that you're doing with us. It's awesome.
Yep. And a few updates. I'm working on a web version of this tool. I just started yesterday. So it's coming along pretty well. So if probably by Christmas, New Year time, you may be able to edit your ADMs on a web browser instead of you installing VS Code back on your power. So I'm hoping by then I'll have that some version of it ready and available.
That sounds good. Okay, so TJ, Vinay, I'm gonna go ahead and close the meeting then. Okay, have a great weekend and
Rod, Vinay, thank y'all.
Happy Diwali.
Yeah.
To everybody out there who's celebrating. So, okay, all right, have a great weekend, everyone.
Have a good weekend.